It's a spooky Halloween! Ghosts, ghouls, dry bones, spooky!
Are you ready? Are you ready to podcast?
Yes, I am. Let's go ahead and podcast.
That's all I have.
Okay, hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning. It's been so long.
It's been long for us. No one else knows that it's been a long time since we've podcasted
It's been
together.
long for us, though, and that's really all I care about.
I know. But it's okay, and here we are. It's not like we haven't hung out with each other.
It's true. We've been together pretty often. We went on vacation together.
We went on vacation together, which, as I say it to other people, sounds weird.
Yeah, it does.
But you know what? I don't care.
I know. I'm just always like, you don't judge me. You don't know what I need in my life.
And you don't know what my life is.
Right. You don't know who my husband is.
You don't know who my husband is.
Don't judge me.
Seriously. We need to have fun and go out and have a good time.
And they just want to stay home.
And, there was I think I sent it to you. There was a video, a meme, video that was on Reels that showed a mom going to Disney without her kids. And apparently that became like a thing. There was a lot of videos on TikTok of people talking about that video and having very strong reactions to it.
Like bad?
Bad, of moms going, like, why would you go to Disney without your kids?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've ever really gotten into the depth of our Disney love because it's a little embarrassing for me.
Yeah, I have feelings about it.
I have mixed feelings about myself as a person because of it. But at the same time, my name is Kim and I love Disney.
My name is Emily and I love Disney.
It's just a thing and we like it. And it's somehow relaxing to our anxiety and it somehow just makes me feel better and happy. And I don't have a lot of happy or joy. Let's get into it. I'm miserable.
No, you're not. You have tons of happy in your life. Come on. But yeah, I think I could go into entire diatribes and I could probably write a thesis paper about why Disney speaks to my anxiety and why it
possibly your autism.
I don't know about that. But I do really enjoy it. So, but you know what else I really like?
Joshua Jackson.
You do? Oh my gosh. Are you so excited about Dr. Odyssey? Every podcast I listen to these days has the advertisement for this Dr. Odyssey. Because the song that they play is that my lovely boyfriend, I don't know. You know this. You would definitely know this song. It's like an 80s song. So I just like that. And every time it comes on.
You think of me.
I do think of you.
Deep love for Pacey Witter.
I think all of the Pacey lovers out there are just having a moment.
They are. Did you see too? I saw something, I guess, the kid from the OC, his name was Seth Cohen on the OC.
I didn't watch
He's in a movie with, or he's in a show with Kristen Bell, and he's older now and very handsome, and people are, real psyched because of the Renaissance. Are some favorite characters from our youth.
Well, I do think that Joshua Joshua.
Yes. Say it again.
I do think that Joshua Jackson is very handsome.
He is,
and I think he's like a Clooney.
Yeah,
he's like a Clooney because I feel like if you remember the way George Clooney's career went, he was probably about the same age as Joshua Jackson, maybe a little bit younger, but he was not super young when he got famous.
On The Facts of Life. Remember, he was on The Facts of Life.
That's what I mean. He was young on The Facts of Life,
right?
But still not super duper young.
No.
And then I think he was on Roseanne. Remember, he dated Aunt Jackie on Roseanne for
Aunt Becky. Is there any? No, Becky's the sister.
Becky's the sister.
You're right. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Come on. He dated Aunt Jackie for a season. And then nothing. And then he came back and he was on ER.
Yes.
And that's when he became George Clooney.
Right.
And this huge star. So my thought is this Joshua Jackson? I don't know anything about the man's acting abilities.
Yeah.
But he's freaking lovable.
Yes.
I've seen the interviews. I mean, I'm just going off of your love of him because I did not watch Dawson's Creek.
You didn't? I'm sorry.
No. I was not into those
I
shows.
don't want to wait for our love to be over.
No, I did not watch any of those shows, but I know that you did. So
You're
that's
better
great.
than me?
I'm not better than you because, let me tell you this. I'm going to jump around here.
Okay.
So I was taking my daughter to a birthday party last night, and she casually mentioned that there's a boy in her class whose name is Bryan Adams. So what do?
Sure.
Well, I just start playing all the Bryan Adams music, top volume in the car, and I got to tell you something. So good.
Like what songs?
Okay. Well, we started at
first
real six string. We start there because obviously that's the best. Mm-hmm. But then, do you remember the song Heaven? Baby, you're all that I need. So good. Like that came on because I was just like, Siri, play Bryan Adams.
Slow dance.
That came on. Oh my gosh. I need somebody like you. That was great. And then, of course, Everything I Do it for you. There's that Don Juan DeMarco song.
What's that song?
Oh, I forget it.
It's called Don Juan DeMarco.
No, but it was in that movie with Johnny Depp.
Okay.
So we listened to that, and that was super duper fun.
So is Percy a huge Bryan Adams fan now?
No, but I told her, I was like, you need to go, quote, sing the songs in his face or something. I'm like, I know he has to know the songs.
Yeah, there's a chance, though, that, his parents aren't even old enough to know Bryan Adams, right?
I don't want to think about that.
Right.
But anyway.
What else? You were going to talk about something else before I brought up Joshua Jackson.
I think I was going to talk about Bryan Adams.
Oh, okay.
I came in here wanting to talk about Bryan Adams because I was listening to it in the car.
I came in wanting to talk about Joshua Jackson, so I think we've accomplished our mission for the day.
We've done the things that we wanted to do, so good for us.
Yeah, I know. What else? Anything else happening with you? Are you ready for Halloween?
No, that's what I'm doing this weekend is I'm decorating for Halloween. That is my mission and my goal. My daughter is going to Spirit Halloween to get her Halloween costumes together.
Early. Costumes?
Costume. She's going with her friend. So this year, usually... the kids have always come trick-or-treating with us around, not our neighborhood. You can't trick-or-treat in the neighborhood I live in, but the neighborhood that my parents live in, we've always just taken them there, but Percy's put her foot down. She's 8th grade. This is possibly her last time trick-or-treating.
Aww.
And she wants to go to, the big neighborhood in our town.
With her friends.
Oh,
that's cute. What's she going to be?
A scary cat.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Bored.
Yeah, but we'll see. I get to I have 2 other sons, and my one son does not do Halloween.
Right.
He will not dress up.
Yeah.
The other son he wants to do the right thing. That's always what he tries to do. It's not about him liking a certain thing or wanting. He just wants to do the thing that you're supposed to do on Halloween, which is dress up scary.
That's social anxiety.
Right. So he always picks out some sort of costume that's just
terrifying.
Scary.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, once you get into the doors of Spirit Halloween, anything could happen.
Anything can happen. I've been loving on TikTok and Reels watching the reactions of kids when they step on the things and the things. Where I saw one where this teenage girl literally fell backwards.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I like to take my nieces and nephews around Halloween because they just like to. I mean, I feel like it's like an activity.
Oh, it is. It's like taking them to a place.
You don't have to buy them anything.
Well,
yeah. I mean, if you're lucky.
Yeah, you do. And as I said before, you end up spending a lot of money there, and it's, not great stuff. But I like their socks that they have there, and all their little, towards the front, they have...
tchotchke toys?
No, they have, jewelry, and they have... And it's, cheap...
Spirit Halloween jewelry?
Well, it's Claire's boutique level jewelry. Uh-huh. But it's, it's fun. It's got, knives and...
Okay.
Pentagrams.
I like that. Pentagrams.
Yeah, hex. Okay. All right, well, what are we doing here?
All right, we're going to do a podcast about movies.
Okay, well, it's your turn.
I know. Okay, so it's my turn?
It's your turn, and it's episode 13.
Spooky.
So what you got for me, Kim?
Okay, so, as you know, I've been struggling with my Halloween choices.
You have.
Yes. So we pre-chose our episodes or our movies for this season months ago. There was nigh a crispy leaf in sight.
No, it was quite warm.
Yes. And we chose some movies, and as we were getting closer, I just wasn't feeling them anymore.
Okay.
So I wanted to make some new picks, and I got permission from you and also our producer.
Sure. Well, you had to go fill out the proper forms.
That's right.
Do the paperwork. Do the paperwork, get the right signatures, and we can make it happen.
Yes. So I chose a new movie, and then I chose 3 new movies.
Okay.
And then I settled on one for today. But, you know, I'm still doubting myself, but at the same time, I'm kind of excited because I remember this movie pretty well. This movie came out in 1990.
Okay.
And I think I've talked about it before. My sister, she was born in 1987. She's 10 years younger than me. So I got to like have a whole new childhood when she was born and like watch all of these movies. Like a lot of the Disney movies and things like that she watched are my favorite Disney movies, like Little Mermaid and Aladdin and things. But then also, you know, what did my husband call it? Get That Bird or Follow That Bird.
Get that bird. Go on, get that bird.
And things like that. So I remember this movie, and I think Siobhan, my sister, has actually brought this up to me recently. Like, yo, do you remember this movie? It was so weird. So I'm kind of excited to watch it because I think that it was something that, because of the people involved in it, I think it was probably deemed as like pretty safe, pretty innocent, pretty okay to watch. And I don't know what its content will be like. I remember it being a little bit scary.
Okay.
And even like when I was doing research, like all the pictures that came up were like of the most scary scenes.
And it's a kid's movie, though.
It is definitely a kid's movie. It's based on it's rated PG.
Okay.
And it's based on a 1983 novel by the same name. And I can't really tell you who the author is because I think that will give it away.
Can I ask you a question?
You can.
Have I seen this movie?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because I feel like it's a weird timing that I don't know
if I was watching kids things.
Right.
Okay.
So it was released, it was shot in 1988, but then the company that was going to release it was actually went out of business.
Oh, it was a good sign.
So it was shelved for a few years, and then but the movie was already made, so I think other companies find that appealing. Obviously,
it's an asset,
and it has a lot of things about it that make it ripe to be a good movie.
Does it have anyone famous in it?
It does.
Okay, good.
So anyway, it ended up coming out under Warner Brothers in 1990. It was released and they talked about this a lot in the research, so I feel like I have to say it, but I don't know why. It was released in the UK first, May 25th, 1990, and then it was released in Orlando, Florida, Sacramento, California in February of 1990. Actually, so that happened first.
Okay.
And then it got a wider release in August.
Okay.
So they were like doing some test audiences and things like that. And that may be because there were some people involved in this movie who wanted it to be a certain way, and then others who wanted it to be a different way. And they did some testing with kids to make sure it wasn't too terrifying. Okay. And they actually cut some things and changed endings to make it less scary.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll tell you who it stars in a minute, but it was directed by an English film director, and his name was Nicholas Jack Roeg.
Okay.
And
Nick Jack Roeg?
Nick Jack Roeg.
That's how. Hi, Nick Jack Roeg. Nice to meet you.
And JR to you. So he directed a lot of movies, but I haven't really heard of any of them. One is called Performance. One is called Walkabout, Don't Look Now, The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Oh, okay.
And Bad Timing.
I've heard of The Man Who Fell to Earth and Don't Look Back.
Okay. So, and at first I wasn't even going to really talk about him, but I read that this director, Nick Jack Roeg, quickly became known for idiocentric visual and narrative style characterized by the use of disjointed and disorienting editing. And he kind of became like a influential person in a lot of famous directors' lives, such as Steven Soderbergh, Christopher Nolan, and Danny Boyle.
Weird.
Yeah, so he didn't do a lot of movies that we know, but at the same time, other people really were enamored with his work.
Is this his first movie, or he had made all those other movies before?
No, all those other movies. This is actually one of his last movies.
Okay. Well, Don't Look Back, isn't that isn't that the Bob Dylan documentary and Man Who Fell to Earth?
Don't Look Now.
Oh, Don't Look Now.
1973. And The Man Who Fell to Earth was 1976.
Okay.
And then he did a film that they listed. He did a film in 1980 called Bad Timing. And then this movie was in 1990.
Okay. Cool.
So anyway, influential guy. The screenplay was written by a man called Alan Shiash.
How do you spell that?
Shiach. Shash. But he has a pseudonym, probably because his last name is hard to pronounce. And it is Alan Scott. And he's a Scottish screenwriter and producer and a former Scotch whiskey executive.
No wonder he went with Scott for his last name.
Right. He is the reason I kept him in is because, while he did a lot of things in his life and he's won a lot of awards, he was actually the executive producer and co-creator of The Queen's Gambit.
Oh.
So you know that show.
He's still out there doing things.
Still doing
big things.
Additionally, we have an executive producer on this film. And this was the last thing he executive produced before his death. And that is Jim Henson.
Oh, okay.
So this was co-produced with Jim Henson Productions and Jim Henson's Creature Shop.
So there's puppets in it.
Yes, and they helped design and build prosthetics and animatronics for the movie. Any guesses on what this is?
I mean, I don't think that, because I feel like he was definitely more involved in Labyrinth.
Right.
So I don't think it's Labyrinth, because I wouldn't say that that's like a horror movie. I have no idea.
Okay. So this book is this is based on a 1983 book by Roald Dahl.
Oh, okay.
And
I love Roald Dahl.
Yes. So the book has the same title. And he was a British author, Roald Dahl, and he wrote, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He wrote Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. He wrote Matilda.
The BFG. The Twits.
James and the Giant Peach.
All of the great things.
He's pretty much one of the preeminent children's authors.
But all of his books are a little scary.
And a little weird.
Yeah.
So this was actually the final film that Jim Henson personally worked on before his death. And also the last film made based on Roald Dahl's work before he died. They both died in 1990.
Wow.
Jim Henson actually died about a week after it was released in London.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he actually died in his arms, but that's okay.
No. So they both died that year. So this was a tough year for children's movies.
Yeah, that's sad.
That yes. Critical response, I will say that it grossed about $10 million in the United States, which is decent. It has a pretty good score on Rotten Tomatoes. Has a 7.6 out of 10, which I would say is pretty high. The critical consensus, a deliciously wicked performance and imaginative puppetry, with a dark and witty spirit. So
I have no idea what this is. I feel like I had to have seen it because both Roald Dahl and Jim Henson were huge in our family.
That's what I feel like. I feel like this would be something. That's what I was thinking when I was researching, because I didn't know if you had seen it, but I had felt like if Nancy was going to make you watch this movie because it's got things that she likes.
But if it was scary, maybe not.
I don't know. Roger Ebert loved it.
Oh, yay!
He gave it 3 out of 4 stars, calling it an intriguing movie, ambitious and inventive, and almost worth seeing just for, and I'm going to give you one of the actors' names, Angelica Huston's obvious delight in playing an completely uncompromised villainess.
Is this The Witches?
It is.
Oh, my goodness. I did not see this when I was young.
Okay.
However, I watched this with my daughter.
Okay.
When she was a little bit younger. So maybe, I don't know, within the past 5 years.
Okay.
I watched it with her, and having never seen it and then watching it, yeah, it's pretty scary.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I remember it being like, there's like a major part where all of a sudden things take a turn and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Angelica Huston, she is the main actress in this movie. It also stars Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean.
Gotta love him.
And then a lot of other people, but the one that I thought you would appreciate the most is the little boy in this movie. His name's Jason Fisher. And he actually is also the son from Parenthood, Kevin. In Parenthood.
Really?
Yes.
Kevin!
Yeah, who loses his retainer.
And he's got anxiety.
Anxiety and doesn't want to play baseball.
Poor kid. Poor Kevin.
Right. We talked a little bit about Roald Dahl. He actually had some problems with this movie.
Roald Dahl did.
Yes.
Oh, that stinks because it was his last one.
Yeah. So, despite lots of positive reviews from critics and things like that, he called it utterly appalling. He liked that Angelica Huston was in it. She was actually one of his top picks for the film, so he was cool with that. But the end of the movie is different than the book, and he was pissed.
Oh.
After the screen testing, Roald Dahl angrily expressed to the producers how appalled he was at the vulgarity, the bad taste, and actual terror in certain parts of the film. Dahl demanded his name and the title be removed from the film prior to release, but after receiving an apologetic, complimentary letter from Jim Henson, Dahl grudgingly withdrew his threat. So Jim Henson was like, listen, guy, it's going to be okay, baby girl.
I know.
Yeah, so he was like really, really unhappy. He really didn't like that it differed a lot from the source material. Like I said, the ending he wasn't happy with. And we can talk about that maybe in the second half a little bit, the differences in the ending that it actually has versus what was in the book.
Did you read the book? Have you ever read the book?
No.
Okay.
It says it. I feel like this comes up in every movie that I find, but it developed a cult following over the years, and it has been pretty popular since then. Someone else in Roald Dahl's family said that he was. A lot of his movies had been, or a lot of his books had been made into movies and things like that. But, and initially he was really, part of the process, but he kind of had stepped back after Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory because he wanted a certain person to play Willy Wonka and he got denied. So he stopped asking for things, but he was, like I said, happy with Angelica Huston as the lead role. So some other fun facts that I found while I was researching this movie, one other thing they changed, they changed a lot from the book about the size of the witches. I guess the original witch in the movie was in the book was very tiny, and Angelica Huston's like 6 feet tall.
Right.
Rowan Atkinson, they kept referring to his Mr. Bean style accident on the set, and he went to his hotel room and started a bath and then fell asleep.
Oh, jeez.
And the bathtub overflowed. And people were like frantically knocking to get in, and he wouldn't answer the door. He was like, I'm sleeping, leave me alone. And it flooded the hotel and ruined tons and tons of production equipment on the floor below. So it was just a huge problem.
Oh my gosh. And if I remember, this movie takes place in a hotel, right?
Yes.
Okay.
At the time of the filming, Angelica Huston was dating Jack Nicholson.
Correct. Yeah, they were a thing for a long time.
Yeah. And I guess he would constantly send these ginormous bouquets of flowers to the hotel. And, he was wooing her.
Sure. Or he was apologizing for being bad or something.
Yeah, probably. Like I told you, Nicholas Roeg, he is the director. He had his kids watch the movie as kind of a test and then changed a lot of it because it was way too scary. Like, they were freaking out. And he was like, I can't do this. I can't do this to kids. I will feel really bad. The prosthetics took so long to apply. They took about 6 hours to apply to Angelica Huston and almost as long to take them off. There was, rubber and all these prosthetics. Wow. And, she was constantly encased in this suit thing for this role. And then she was also a little bit blinded by the green vapor they use in it. So.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Oh, other possible people to star were Cher, Helen Mirren, Anne Bancroft, Olivia Hussey. What kind of name is that?
Oh, Olivia Hussey. You know who that is?
Who?
Olivia Hussey played Juliet in the Zeffirelli version of Romeo and Juliet when she's like really young with that beautiful long hair.
Okay, well, she did not play the witch in this.
No, she did not. She's too beautiful too.
Sure. Sigourney Weaver, Faye Dunaway, Susan Sarandon, Eartha Kitt, Jodie Foster, Vanessa Redgrave.
Wow.
And Liza Minnelli.
And Liza. She's like, hey guys, I'm a witch.
That's right. Cha-cha-cha.
Cha-cha-cha.
And then they said too, by the time this movie came out, actually, so when Rowan Atkinson starred in this movie, he was not Mr. Bean yet.
Okay.
I feel like he's just always been Mr. Bean, but he wasn't quite yet.
In his heart and soul, it sounds like he was.
Yes. But that didn't come out until 1990 as well. So they kind of redid the movie posters and things to feature him a little bit more prominently than he is in the movie, because they knew that Mr. Bean had a following. So they took a Mr. Bean style picture and put it on the poster.
So is this why it was released in the UK first? Probably. If he was having a moment, they were probably like, get this out on screens.
Actually, it wasn't. They just put the UK release first. I don't know why. So that was my bad. But, or maybe that's why they released it in the UK. But it seems like there's a lot of Brits and Scots involved. So I think it was,
well, it's Roald Dahl.
Movie,
when
right?
This summer when I went to London town, there's a big, in front of Buckingham Palace, there's this big garden that you can walk through. It's basically like a park that you walk through. And they have all these different gardens with flowers and everything. And each of them is named for someone else.
Oh, okay.
And there's a Roald Dahl garden that we went to that had these beautiful roses in it.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Nice.
So he's beloved over there.
So you think you've seen this movie?
I've definitely seen this movie. I didn't watch it as a young person where I would have strong feelings. I feel like I do think that it came out at a time when I wasn't in the age group that it was going for. And two, if it had any hint of scariness to it, it definitely wouldn't have been something. I avoided scary movies, just anything that might make me scared. Like I didn't watch the news for a long time. If the news was on in a living room, I would have to go away. Like I couldn't be around it because I was afraid of getting scared. I remember you were afraid of being sad, I was afraid of being scared. Sure.
We have problems.
All
right, well, let's go watch this movie. I'm very interested to see it. I have not watched it since my sister was very little. So I'm very interested to see, what it's all about.
Okay, exciting.
Confidently controversial. And we're back.
I have so much to say about this movie.
Are you okay?
I'm not okay.
Why?
I mean, Kim. First of all, this movie's a lot.
From the start.
It gives
you no room to breathe.
No, it's off-putting from the beginning. You definitely can tell Roald Dahl definitely has that certain vibe in all of his books and everything that he does that does have a sense of danger to it.
Sure. Where the characters are very flawed.
Characters are very flawed. The adults are very flawed. Yes. And the kids face real danger. And if you think about even Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka's a little cuckoo.
Yeah.
And and even like the BFG, you have the dangerous giants that are going to try and like crush the girls.
And Matilda's parents.
Yeah, there's always something.
Yeah.
And I think this movie's the same. From the very beginning of this movie. I mean, even the opening freaking credits.
Yeah.
The way that they're shot.
Well, I told you this director, too, has a very eclectic, unsettling way of editing the films to make things kind of like jarring.
Yeah.
Remember, that's why I told you.
I'm unsettled.
Well,
mission accomplished.
Nick Rogue.
Right. Jesus. Yeah. So I feel like even the very beginning, when they're talking about, well, should I give an overview?
Yeah,
for those
why don't you tell the
it?
people about the movie?
Okay.
Because I want to hear your point of view.
Because I have to say this, too. And I know last week when we did Something Wicked This Way Comes, I had said, I watched this recently with my kids. Here's what I've discovered about myself. I don't watch the movies.
No, you don't.
I probably sit there on my phone or I'm doing other things because I didn't watch this.
Right.
I don't remember half of it. Not even half of it.
Right.
So the beginning of this movie starts out and it's a grandma who is what is she, Swedish? What is she, Swedish?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yada. Or Norwegian or something like that.
I think Norwegian.
One of those very white, blonde countries. Mm-hmm. So she's talking to her grandson, who is Kevin from Parenthood, and she's telling him, listen, you got to be on the lookout for witches because they're everywhere and they will get you. And he's like, how do you know, Grandma? And she just flashes a little nub. She flashes a little nub of a finger, which makes you believe that a witch bit her finger off.
Bit it?
I mean, I assume bit.
Okay.
She somehow lost a finger to a witch.
They didn't say that a witch bit her finger. I mean, it's weird that that's where you went, but I don't think they said bit.
They didn't, but they do imply that somehow
the witch impacted the pinky finger.
The witch took the pinky.
Yes,
at some point.
Not the whole thing.
No, she's got a little,
like from the second knuckle up.
Yeah, she's got
first knuckle up.
She's got a little grubby nub.
Yeah,
that she just flashes to her.
Yeah, and it wasn't a clean cut, so maybe it was a bite.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So she's like, yeah, you got to be on the lookout on witches, but there's some ways you can figure them out. Mm-hmm. And she talks about the different ways, which is that they're bald and they wear wigs all the time, so they got like scratchy heads, so they're always itching their heads.
Does that happen?
You get wig rash? Yeah. I don't know. I don't wear a wig.
These women are uncomfortable
all the time.
Yeah, they're like to the point where they're like can't even hide it. Like so, that's one of their obvious flaws is that they wear these wigs and they are like some synthetic fabric that makes them break out and have like rashes on their heads.
Yeah, but they have a lot of money. They imply that these witches, because the witches, at least the high witches, they look fantastic.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And even that other lower level witch that they meet where she's trying to like lure him with a snake, she's dressed to the nines.
She's pulled together, yeah.
She looks great. Mm-hmm. So they have money to buy a better wig. Get a lace front, girl.
That's right. That's because they're wearing them on their bald heads, too.
Oh.
Aren't you supposed to wear something like a wig cap?
Yeah, like a little stocking on your head.
Yeah, and then you glue it down.
Are you wearing a wig?
No, I watch a lot of wig videos, though.
Well, yeah, so that's a tell, is that they're always wearing their wig, so they might be scratching at their scalp in their grubby wig.
And they have no toes.
No toes. Which really goes against the whole thing of like a witch wearing a pointed shoe.
Well, they go to they make the point to say that they don't ever wear pointed shoes. They actually wear square-toed plain shoes.
Plain shoes because they're more comfortable on their squared-off, no-toed feet.
So ladies, if your shoe game is not tight, you might be a witch.
You might be a witch. They have purple eyes.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is there's other little tells. And they smell kids. Kids smell like dog poop to them. That's specifically how they describe it. That they smell. They don't say poop. They say droppings because they're British and they're nicer. Right. But they smell like dog poop. So anytime like a kid's around and you see like a witch going like sniffing their nose, going like a gross sniff, like as if you were sniffing a plate of dog poop.
Yes.
That's a tell.
Yeah, and at one point they're looking for a kid and the one witch is like, find that pile or find that small pile or something like that.
Yeah, it's really gross. So those are the tells.
But we don't know why they hate kids.
They hate kids.
But we don't know why.
Like they just want to get rid of the kids, but they don't eat the kids. So then when the grandma is talking...
What is it with you and witches and eating kids?
Because I thought that's what they did. Hansel and Gretel.
Okay.
Remember she was fattening him up and that's how he would stick the stick out of the thing and she was like, you're not getting fat yet and I want to eat you.
Okay.
Don't you remember that story?
Yeah, I mean, I remember
I thought the witches ate the kids.
Is that the only witch you know?
I don't know many, apparently. Okay. She's telling the story and she's like, and I really know about witches because my best friend, Erica.
Oh, yeah, Erica.
Erica, this cutest little Swedish girl or Norwegian or whatever the hell they were with the long blonde braids. She gets into a witch sees her and captures her and puts her in a goddamn painting.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Traps her in a painting. Guys, so they're like, I'm thinking, because when they first show the witch that captures her, she's making a big stew.
Right.
So that's why I was like, oh, she needs a kid to complete that stew.
Okay.
Right? Because all I know of witches is that they eat kids.
Apparently.
I know nothing else but that. And it had like a big bone in it.
Oh, I get it. This is comforting to me. She's going to eat the kid.
Well, no. I just thought that's what was going to happen. Naturally, that's what would happen. Sure. And when you saw the soup, it had like a big bone in it. So I'm like, that's a thigh bone. Femur.
Walter!
So she captures little Erica, and everybody's upset, and I don't like that. I don't like seeing the parents upset, because as a parent, I get that's upsetting to me, and I think if you're a child, it's also upsetting. I don't know who's liking this movie at this point.
Yeah, but hold on. Okay, so that girl goes out to get milk, and then the witch steals her and puts her in the painting. She doesn't become a mouse.
She doesn't. I think the witch's goal is to just not have any kids around. They do not like children.
Do they understand that children become adults, and that this is desecrating the population?
We're not even going there in this story.
Go on, keep going.
It's just that the witches want to get rid of the adults. Mm-hmm. I mean, not the adults, the children. They don't want any of them around.
For some unknown reason.
So I'm going to either put you in a painting, I'm going to like turn you into I just don't want you around.
Let's talk about the painting a little bit more.
So the dad's a painter, and they kind of set that up before the girl goes missing. Well, then this is like a week later. Now the grandma the grandma who's telling the little boy the story so happened to be Erica's best friend.
Right.
So she goes over to the parents' house to like visit them, and it's real sad. You can tell the parents are real distraught.
Obviously their kid's missing.
Yeah, but they're being kind to the friend, like come in, have some cake. And all of a sudden, the dad looks across the room, and he sees his painting that he had put up on the shelf. And he just gets this like look on his face, and he goes up close to the painting, and there's little Erica drawn into the window of the cabin that's drawn in this painting. It's like a countryside, but then that's not even enough.
No, that's not enough.
She ages in the painting.
Yeah, that's fucking terrifying. Like, who thinks of something like that?
And it's such like a little part of this movie.
Right. Big impact, though.
Holy crow. I'm going to think about this for the rest of my life. It's so upsetting. So they would see her, they wouldn't see her move. It wasn't like watching a TV show. No. It was like you'd walk out of the room, and then you'd come back, and the little Erica would be playing with the geese, would be like by the geese, by the pond in the thing. Because it was like a country little cabin in the woods, scenic thing. And then they said over the years, she was getting older.
Yeah. Until what happened?
Until she disappeared.
Because?
She was an old lady and she died.
I know. At least she got to be with her family.
What was that weird noise?
It's me being scared.
It was scared. It was really scary. Well, so then cut to real life. And the kid, Kevin, I don't think that's his name in this movie. What's his name? Luke. His parents come home, and he's talking, like the grandma's watching him, and the parents are like, stop telling him scary stories. We're going out on the town for the night. Great. Well, guess what, Kim? They go out on the town, they die.
They never come home.
Which
is unnecessary. Like, the parents don't even need to be in it. Like, we don't have to know we don't know why the witches hate kids. We don't have to know why this kid's parents aren't around.
We just have to know that the grandma is has charge of.
But just in case you weren't freaking out enough about the painting, they were just like, oh, BT dubs. The parents also die in a horrific car accident.
And the police come to the house, and it's real sad.
Yeah, and Kevin's never sad about it.
It's weird.
Yeah.
He just feels like, you know what? I'm happy we're here. I love you, Grams.
Yeah, he's a pretty adaptable kid, though. As we come to find out.
He certainly is. So the grandma, well, this is, so not only that, well, then life's going on. Grandma's taking care of, they move to London. She's taking care of Luke, and he's having a birthday party. Well, next thing you know,
it's not a birthday party. He's having a birthday. There's no kids there.
No, but she's celebrating him. She's got treats for him and everything. Well, next thing you know, Kim.
What?
Grandma passes out on the fucking table.
You thought she was going to die, didn't you?
I was like, if this lady dies. Well, you know, turns out, Kim.
What?
Grandma's got a mild case of the diabetes.
Light diabetes.
So what does the doctor prescribe her? Just no sweets? Go on holiday.
Right, by the seashore.
Go to the seashore.
Yeah, I want that.
Like, where's that doctor in America?
I want a doctor to just be like, you know what you need, bitch? A vacation.
I'm going to write you out this prescription to go to the seaside. Right. Not the seaside where you live, a different seaside.
It cannot be your own personal seaside. It has to be a new seaside.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So they go to some sort of little vacation spot in wherever they are.
It's just a hotel.
Yeah, but then there's like a beach, like it's some, outside. It seems like there's...
But it seems all like overcast and not nice.
Because it's England.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think it's like... I think that's as good as it gets.
It doesn't matter. Just salt air will heal you.
The salt air is going to heal you. Okay. You need to go relax. Take your grandson, go there.
Okay.
What I didn't mention is that the grandson has pet mice.
Yes. Which William and Mary.
Yes, which gross. But anyway, he likes them and it's fine. The grandma just wants to make him happy. They go to the hotel. He's got his pet mice. And, well, Kim, guess what?
What?
It turns out at that hotel that weekend, well, they had their convention area rented out.
Mm-hmm. To who?
The witches.
Yeah, witch convention.
A witch convention was happening at this hotel.
Wouldn't you just know it?
Wouldn't you just know it? And the funniest thing about this part of the movie was watching Kim, watching it as a person who puts together events, who I know that's what you were thinking of the entire time. You saw the signage. You saw the check-in area.
I saw the fact that they had no preconception of what the room looked like that their event was going to be in. They just walked in and were like, this will do. And she's like, no, bitch, you know months in advance what that room's going to look like. You were in there last night till midnight setting up the witch convention.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so Angelica Huston shows up, which, my God, let's take a minute.
This witch.
First of all, she is fabulous.
She really is. Like, I mean...
Fabulous.
An icon,
a true icon. I can see why Jack Nicholson was just sending her to like huge.
I wonder how tall Jack Nicholson is, because I just like to think of her like towering over him.
She's like a goddess.
Yeah, 6 foot tall.
Yeah, and she's just like
tight and angular.
She in real life, I'm sure she is so striking.
Yeah.
That it's just, you can't take your eyes off of her. Right.
Yeah. Didn't we do a movie that was like by her dad or something?
Yes. Her dad actually is, Houston, he directed Annie.
Oh, Annie.
Right. But he did a lot of other famous things as well.
Okay.
He did Chinatown and you kept getting mad at me like everybody. Right. Yes. So
yeah, I still don't know what it is. But Jack Nicholson's in it, right?
Jack Nicholson's in it.
Weird.
And he directed them and also was in the movie Pritzi's Honor. And I think that's how they met.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Back to the witches.
Back to the witches. So we see Angelica Huston just being awesome and all these witches. Well, they get in and they take the keys to the room from Mr. Bean, who's like the hotel manager.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're going to lock up.
Right.
See you later.
Yeah.
Locks all the doors to the room for the convention.
Sure.
What I failed to mention was that the little Luke boy, he just happened to be playing in that convention hall.
Yes, with his mice.
He gets trapped because all of a sudden he realizes real quick that these are witches. How does he realize it, Kim? Because they all take their wigs off.
That's right.
And you told me the best fact ever.
Oh, yes.
Tell the people.
So, there was a lot of hair and makeup to be done on this movie. So to save time, they figured out if they put bald men as extras as some of the witches, it'd be much easier to make them bald and also put a wig on them. So a lot of the witches in the crowd are men, and it's very obvious.
It's very obvious who the men are. It's hysterical. It's so much fun. But yeah, so once the room's locked and they're all in there, she's like, "Okay, witches, you can take off your shoes,"
and they let their little nubby toes out.
They don't have to. It's just their little their foot nubs.
How do you want? Well, anyway. Sorry.
Whatever. And then she's like, okay, and you can take off your wig. So they all take off their wigs and they got like a little rash heads and they're all bald. But she doesn't just take off her wig. She takes off her wig and her
whole face.
Her whole face. And she is a scary witch.
Yeah, terrifying. And then she has like a big nose and a humpback and hair protruding from and that's the funny thing too, is it's very Dark Crystal. It's very Labyrinth. It's very Jim Henson movie production.
Yes.
Studios. Those witches are Jim Henson.
Oh yeah.
Even when the child is turning into the mouse, it's all very
Yes.
Muppet.
Yeah, absolutely. So you see all those people. Well, she's got a grand plan to get rid of all. She's mad at all the witches of England.
Yes.
Because they're not doing enough to get rid of kids.
They're not killing enough kids.
Right. So we're putting them in paintings or whatever they do because they don't eat them. Who knows what they do with them.
We know, Emily.
So she's like, listen, I made this potion that just a couple drops will turn someone into a mouse. Right?
Yeah.
So,
Formula 86.
Formula 86. So here's a bunch of money. Go and buy all of the sweet shops and then put this in the candy and then you're going to turn all the kids into mice.
Right.
And then
one of them's like, oh, but what if an adult eats it? And she's like, yeah, well, that's just too bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then anybody in the crowd who dares to question her or, think her plan is a little faulty. Like one of them, she just like lasers them through the heart.
She lasers someone through the heart and just like kills them.
Yeah, and they disappear into dust and puts a hole in the chair.
Yeah.
Rude.
I know, but it's like scary. Again, there's every second of this movie is terrifying. And the whole time this is happening, the little boy is just hiding. Watching it.
Yeah, and then they bring in the other kid.
Then they bring in, they had met this other kid, Bruno, whose parents are just assholes.
Sure.
And Bruno, his biggest character trait is that he likes to eat.
He's a little chubby.
He's chubby, but he's also an asshole. Like I feel like in a lot of Roald Dahl books, they have a kid shown as, when he shows a child as being like, if you think of like Augustus Gloop,
yeah,
it's not just that he's chubby, it's the chubbiness shows greediness.
Right. Except for in Matilda, though. Do you remember the kid in Matilda? He's a nice boy, and they like all cheer him on to eat the cake.
Yes. Well, maybe Roald Dahl was like, you know what? I really
stuck it to these fat kids.
I really got to make a nice fat kid. But I do think that he uses it as like a thing to show awfulness.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's an 80s thing too.
Sure. Sure. So poor little, what's his name?
Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno.
No, we talk about this one.
We talk about this Bruno. So Bruno loves candy and he's real greedy and he's a real just little jerk kid.
And he bites all the scones.
He just nibbles the edges of the scones at the buffet. He's gross. He's just gross.
Which made me think a lot about buffets. And I'm just like, I wonder if there's any nibbled scones at our buffets.
Probably.
I don't really go to buffets.
There's licked scones for sure.
Ew.
Just lick that scone.
Yeah.
So they give him this candy and this kid turns into a mouse.
Yes.
And it's horrific.
Yes.
Like, it's scary.
There's multiple stages of transformation.
I don't like it.
They did a good job with it.
I don't like it. And then, so then they find that the little boy is there. The other little boy that we like is there, Luke. And they they capture him. And it's that whole, I can't even go into that whole scene, but it's really scary.
Yeah,
he's
they like
running
basically
away.
pour the poison down his throat.
It's scary. They like hold him down. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's traumatic.
Yeah.
Like it's traumatic if you're a kid watching this. I think it's traumatic as an adult watching a poor kid getting, held down and that it's just awful. So then he gets turned into a mouse, but he's real fucking happy about it.
Yeah, he seems to like it better. I mean, and granted his parents just died, so he's probably going through some shit.
Right. He does not see the downside of this.
No, he loves it.
Right. But all the adults, like he goes and finds his grandma and his grandma's upset and he's like, why are you upset?
Right. This is great.
It's like, you're a mouse. And I think
you're a mouse.
You're a mouse. Yeah. Any movie that has something like that in it is really unsettling to me. Like anything that's like a transformation. There was a movie that came out. I didn't even see the movie. I just read about it and it disturbed me a lot just reading about it, which was called Tusk. Do you know this movie?
Yeah.
It disturbs
Justin
me.
Long in that?
Yes. It disturbs me to my core. So Tusk is about Justin Long being transformed into a walrus.
As like a torture, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's like a mad scientist doing it.
Yeah, I don't like that either. But that's different.
To me, it's the same. There's an episode of South Park where the people are getting transformed and the dad wants to become a dolphin. So he gets operations to turn into a dolphin. And like, even that cartoon.
What about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Shrinking doesn't affect me in the same way.
Really?
No.
Okay.
No. It's something about being transformed into like an animal or being transformed into something that like can't talk or communicate.
What about...
Like even it's like being trapped in a painting. It's being trapped in something.
What about in Weird Science when Chet turns into a poop?
Very unsettling to me.
Okay.
Very upsetting. Like, I don't like that. Even in Willy Wonka, when Violet Bogarts turned into a blueberry, that messed me up.
It did.
I don't like it.
It can't happen to you.
I know, but there's this...
Like, that's like one of the least rational fears to have because it's very unlikely to happen.
It's not that I think it would happen. It's this feeling of being trapped.
Helpless?
Helplessness. This feeling of not... Like, I almost wonder if it's something like if you were disfigured or something like that happened and now you're so altered, you're almost like... Yeah, like you're not yourself anymore. Like it hits some sort of like weird, it triggers some sort of weird response in me and I don't like it.
I accept it. But...
So there you go. But yeah, so he gets transformed into a mouse and then they have to go and figure out how to, like he, works with his grandma now and she's helping him. They get the potion and yada, yada, yada.
Well, what about...
They turn all the witches into mice.
What about... Yeah, they do. But what about when the grandma is leaning over the ledge calling the cat?
Oh, and she calls it a pussy?
She's like, puss, puss, puss. Puss, puss, puss.
No, the best line... No, I wrote down my favorite line of this movie because it also seems... Because of whatever happened in the Nub incident...
Yeah.
Like, she is a mortal enemy of those witches.
Yeah.
And she kind of has a throwaway line when she talks about once she realized that her best friend, Erica, was trapped in a painting by a witch, she kind of made it her mission for a long time to go after the witches.
She's anti-witch.
She's very anti-witch. So and it seems like the witches are really out to get her specifically.
They don't like her.
So when they realize she's there, like right away, Angelica Huston sees her and it's just like, oh, like, we're going to get that lady. And she doesn't necessarily recognize her.
Oh, I think she does.
The grandmom?
Yeah, I think she might.
She says, I'm not sure. Like, I feel like she's
the
like...
The grandmom doesn't recognize her, but I think Angelica Huston recognizes the grandma.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And they put, like, a spell on her.
Oh, yeah.
So she can't save. And she's, like, laying in the bed, and she's kind of out of it, and she won't wake up. And Luke, the little grandson, says, maybe it was the witch, or maybe it was her diabetes.
Yeah. Maybe.
We'll never know. Right. We'll never know.
Maybe it was both.
But
she did have a little sugar in her tea, which they acted like it was going to fucking kill her.
Well, she has the diabetes.
I know, but one spoonful of sugar.
Hey, man. You don't know.
Well, she has light diabetes, remember?
Well, light can turn into more strong if you don't keep an eye on it. You had lifestyle changes, Kim. Okay. We learned nothing over the years.
I guess not.
So... They get the potion, and he, like, ratatouilles that shit.
I wrote ratatouille,
too. Because he gets this potion, and he goes in the kitchen, and he causes havoc in the kitchen.
Does. I was like, is this what Ratatouille is based on?
So for those of our listeners who watch Downton Abbey, the head chef in this movie is the gentleman who played Carson in Downton Abbey, who's a great character. So you get to see a young Carson as the head chef. And he puts the potion, so the mouse puts the potion into the soup. And
the cress soup.
The cress soup, and turns all the witches. But there's one witch who's the helper of Angelica Huston.
The staff.
And she's really mean to her and says, well, you can't be at the dinner. You're here as staff.
Yeah, all of a sudden she starts being shitty to her. Like, in the first part, the woman got to sit on stage with her and was like her right hand.
But they had to do that, Kim,
I know,
because
Emily. I understand how movies work, Emily.
So then at the end of the movie, the grandma takes the boy back, but he's still a mouse.
Yeah, and they've fully accepted it. He builds his like circus city
out of constructs.
Who builds it? He doesn't. He couldn't.
Grandma built it. Built it. Grandma's real cool. Yeah. Grandma's also like, she's not letting on, but you can kind of tell she's sad for him.
Well, obviously.
And also he says, how long do mice live?
I know.
She knows they don't live very long.
Right. And he knows it too.
I know.
He's going to die soon. So, but then luckily, that witch who was Scorn, now that all the other witches are away, she's the head witch, but she's a good witch. She dresses all in white, and she's very blonde. And as we know in movies, blonde is good. That's true. Dark hair is bad hair.
Dark hair is bad. Dark hair is bad.
Your hair is very dark and you're very bad.
You're very, very bad, Angelica Huston, with your dark hair. I don't know what kind of accent that was.
But I liked it.
Okay, good. So then she comes back and she transforms Luke from a mouse back into a boy. However, this little boy was full naked in this movie.
Well, yeah, he lost his clothes when he became a mouse.
Okay, but as a filmmaker, you don't have to show...
Well, you also don't have to show him, like, diving from mouse form into human form where his wang is, like, on display.
Yeah, and, like, his little Heiner.
Yeah.
He's, like, a little boy.
He is.
Yeah, he's probably, like, about the same age as my kids. And it's like, that kid had to be naked for that scene.
And then he was just naked till the end.
And shame on his parents. They shouldn't have... let him do that in a movie.
Well, I mean...
I don't know. I always think that in these things. These parents, I think, go a little too far. I also I looked at his IMDb. He didn't do anything after this. I think he was a little maybe, messed up from having to be naked on set.
I think so.
I think so.
He maybe just didn't...
I don't know.
He just wasn't good, maybe.
Maybe he just wasn't good.
So,
he wasn't that good in this
So
movie.
at the end, he obviously turns back into a boy. But the thing, I guess, in the book by Roald Dahl...
Oh, this was my question. I wanted to know, what are the differences?
He doesn't turn back into... He stays a mouse. And Roald Dahl wanted him to stay a mouse in the movie. Because he wanted... I mean, that's the way he wrote it. And that's the way he liked it. So he was real hot that...
Does he die, like, young?
They don't get that far.
Wow.
But also, so the director, or Jim Henson, I guess, they actually shot 2 endings to the movie to appease Roald Dahl. And, but like I said, they did a lot of test screenings with kids, and that one just wasn't going to fly. So that's why they went with the one where he becomes a boy again. Because I don't think... after a movie that's that level of... It's frightening. If you were a small kid, so you figure...
I wouldn't know I need to talk to your sister to find out how... Because she was legitimately little when she saw this.
Yeah. So, as a small kid, I can't imagine... I feel like you as a kid would have been, like, wrecked by that kid not turning back into a boy.
Oh, disturbed forever. Yeah. Yeah, I would have had to go on my swing set and think about it for a long time.
Right. Like, what would I do? You would be, like, fully have a whole scenario in your head of, like, what you would do if you were a mouse and how you would get around and how you would survive.
I thought that he wasn't going to turn back.
Yeah.
And I was just watching it now very deeply
Well, you
upset.
can kind of tell, because at the end they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, he's a boy again. The end.
Well, they keep setting it up that he's going to stay, because he's like, I'm okay with being a mouse.
Yeah.
Being a mouse is pretty great. I don't have to go to school.
Right.
And then he also says, don't forget to get Bruno, so then you don't have to worry about Bruno.
Right.
You know, he's going to be fine.
Yeah. So they both turn back into boys, but Roald Dahl didn't want that.
Oh, Roald Dahl, you mean...
He's a weird one.
He's a weird one.
Yeah.
Well, he's an interesting person if you ever want to, like, read about... He was a pilot in war, and I think I know at least one of his children died young from like the flu.
Okay.
And he's just seems to be a very interesting person. They did these recently. If you watch on Netflix, Wes Anderson took several of Roald Dahl's short stories and adapted them, and he released them each individually. And then I think now you can watch them all as a series. And the one of them won some sort of award for best short. But my children love Wes Anderson, and they really loved these little short movies, because they also love Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is Roald Dahl, that Wes Anderson did.
Oh, okay.
So, but very weird. But they're also very weird movies.
Yeah,
very
and
weird
I think
shorts.
Like something I read about him said that a lot of times he tries to do like this moral message, and I was wondering that in the beginning, like I was kind of wondering if it was like a stranger danger kind of thing or something like that, because like the first part is the grandma like explicitly warning the kid to stay away from witches and giving him all the tips and kind of saying, don't hang out with people who you don't know or are strange.
Yeah, I also wonder if it's, you have to be aware of other people. You can't just go through life assuming that everyone is good. Some people have bad intentions, and you need to be aware of it.
Yeah.
Because he's not saying everyone is bad. He's kind of saying there are adults in the world who are, tricky.
Out to hurt you.
And are out to hurt you. And that's something that I've talked about with my kids.
Right.
There are adults out there who who hurt kids.
Right.
And you have to be aware of that. And I think that's definitely something in there, because they even make a point to say the witches don't look like witches. They look
like regular people.
They look like regular people.
Right.
I wonder if that is the thing.
Yeah.
Because it's true.
It is
true. I'm so sad.
It is sad.
God, I need to lay down. This movie hurt me.
It did. I really just felt like it was going to be like gross and weird, but it was definitely impactful.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
sad. Okay, so it's Halloween. It's definitely a horror movie. It's definitely scary. It's funny that we've both chosen kids' scary movies to focus on, but we were kids when these things came out.
Exactly.
And honestly, I think that this is pretty scary.
They would never make a movie like this.
No, I don't think you're right. Because
you don't think I'm right? They think I would? You think they would?
Yes. There's a movie that came out recently that my daughter really likes called The House with the Clocks in the Walls.
Okay.
The House with the Clocks in It or something like that. Okay. Jack Black is in it. And it's based on a book.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
And it's for kids? It's like
it's
PG
for kids. Yes.
Kids?
Yes, it's for kids. It's definitely for kids. Also, they made that movie that's based on that book that is for kids. That's The Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah.
Well, that movie was terrifying. Okay. I watched that with Percy, and that was super scary. There was something else that we watched that was, Coraline.
Coraline is scary.
Coraline was a movie that was a challenge for my daughter when she was little. The first time she saw it, she was so scared of it. And there was a couple years she wouldn't watch it. And then she did watch it. I feel like she felt really proud of herself. And that, to me, I think that was the catalyst for her to get really into horror.
Yeah. Because
she
made it.
She made it. And it was like a challenge for her. And she got through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that movie's super scary as well.
Right.
Being a kid is really scary. There's a lot of scary things out there.
It is. And I mean, I get the idea of, saying that there's a moral to it and we're trying to teach kids certain things. But at the same time, there's got to be a better way.
I don't know. Sometimes you got to scare a kid.
You got to scare the shit out of them.
You really do.
You do what you're supposed to do.
You see what could happen?
Right.
You see what could happen. Right. Because honestly, as scary as it is getting turned into a mouse, not as scary as the real scary people that are out there to hurt kids. And again, I'm so sad.
Don't cry.
Oh my
it's God. It's going to be okay.
Oh my God.
Well, guess what, though?
What?
There's good news.
What?
Christian Slater connects to this movie.
Yay!
Do you want to find out how?
Absolutely. There's another part of the thing. Yeah, what?
We're on the air, by the way.
Oh, are we?
Now we are. Emily forgot that we have another part of the podcast. So
I was ready to go.
She's closing up shop.
I was ready to go. I was like, you want me to go? Okay, I'll leave.
You forgot about my baby boy.
Oh, Christian Slater, make everything much better, because I am legitimately not in a good place right now.
Buy yourself a little treat on the way home.
I might.
So Rowan Atkinson.
Oh, Mr. Bean.
He was in this movie.
We didn't talk too much about him, but he does have this little side plot in this movie, which is really kind of funny.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a main part at all. And for him to have been featured on the poster is whack.
Yeah. Truth.
Okay, so Rowan Atkinson, he's in this movie. He was also in 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
Yeah, me too. So good.
I need to watch that with a young Hugh Grant.
Yeah. And he connects to Hugh Grant, who was in the movie Unfrosted with Christian Slater.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have Hugh Grant in the film. Yes!
I know, what a day.
It is a day.
I know.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
What do you have to tell the people?
I want to tell you guys that it's Halloween. I want you to go out there, live your best lives, but I also want you to follow us on all the platforms where you can follow us. Subscribe to our podcast if you have not subscribed to this yet.
Do it.
Rate and review us. Buy yourself a little t-shirt or a hat. Show people that you're confidently controversial.
That's right. Make people ask questions. Like, what does that mean? Who are those beautiful women?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Not like we're on any of them. Don't worry, we're not on any of them.
You don't have to buy a shirt with our faces on it. We would never.
We would never. So they should definitely do all those things. Another thing that they should do.
What?
Are we ready to wrap it up?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's just wrap it up because I'm ready.
Yeah,
I gotta go
you gotta sleep.
I want you guys to go out there and be confident of yourself in this world. You know, go out there, be yourself, live life.
Angelica Huston the shit out of this life.
Angelica Huston the shit out of it. Be amazing. However.
Yeah. What?
I need you to be on the lookout for witches.
Yeah.
For the bad people.
Bad witches.
Bad witches. And the good witches. Like, just be aware.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So don't be controversial and not be aware. Get out there. Make sure that you're aware. And I just want to tell you all, we love you very much.
We do.
Don't watch this movie if you want to have a good weekend.
Don't show it to your children.
Absolutely
Just
not.
teach them about stranger danger, and that's plenty.
That's plenty.
You can do it.
Okay.
All right.
All right. We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Confidently controversial. Confidently controversial.